Good Monday morning to you guys. We are here at the BCW booth with Mike from MGP, and we are going to talk about low-carb, high-fiber egg replacement solutions.
That's right. And thank you very much for having me and stopping by today. Appreciate it.
Mike, what does MGP do?
MGP is an ingredient provider to the baking industry, the pasta industry, and many food companies. And we specialize in isolated wheat proteins and very much specialty starches like what we're showing here today.
Very neat. And resistant starch, it's a very new story. Like it just got approved in March. Right?
Yeah.
And MGP has a huge play in this. Can you tell us a little bit more about
I love
how
that.
MGP changed
Yes,
things?
I love that question. So resistant starch, our FiberSim is an RS4 resistant starch. What that means is it's a cross-linked starch. It was actually developed and invented by scientists at KSU in Manhattan.
Wow.
And what we look at here is it is a wheat starch, so it works very well in breads and pastas, anything with a wheat-based kind of formula, and it acts as a dietary fiber. And what's really cool is back in March, the FDA did recognize our RS4 wheat starch as a dietary fiber for labeling purposes. And so really what that means, Lynn, is we did all of the human clinical studies to prove the healthy aspects of our dietary fiber as it relates to human health.
Fist bump.
That is a great
That's amazing.
And I have to give kudos to our Dr. Odie Meningat.
Dr. Odie.
Dr. Odie
was
absolutely awesome in working directly with the FDA. So we joined hands with FDA and did more studies with human subjects, not only in the United States, but also in Canada.
Wow.
And the studies came back very favorable for our FiberSim as a dietary fiber. And it worked with lowering insulin response and also blood glucose levels. So two very important healthy benefits.
So if IBIE attendees come here, where can they find FiberSim and what products?
We have two wonderful products here this morning. We have some brownies that are amazing. We have FiberSim NRIs in the brownies, and we also have a blueberry muffin, which is fantastic. So if you're walking the IBIE and you have some coffee and maybe you'd like a little something nice to go with that coffee, we have a lower carbohydrate, higher actual protein than treat for you here, and it tastes fantastic. It has two different ingredients. It has our specialty protein, which is an isolated wheat protein, and it also has our dietary fiber, FiberSim. So what happens is the benefits are a higher protein, and actually the FiberSim as a dietary fiber, it lowers carbs as well. So how's that sound?
It's good. I mean, am I supposed to taste anything different in these?
You are going to find that really the eating quality, we talk about this in our team, the eating quality is fantastic. You really won't recognize that you're having a healthier snack this morning.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't see any difference. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to feel a difference?
No. And what the Arise does, by the way, is help give this some volume. So not only are you seeing a higher fiber product here, but you're not losing any of those kinds of things that bakers really love. Yeah. And they want a little volume, and they like that mouthfeel. And you'll kind of see
a really good volume.
Yeah, you'll see the crumb texture. It's quite nice. So, please stop by at 4623 to have a nice, sweet, healthy snack.
All right, thank you, Mike. Bye. Welcome to the Lallemand booth, and we are here with Ulysses today. We will be talking about the Tortimix.
Tortimix.
What is it? This is interesting. Look at this. Go ahead.
Tortimix is a mix of natural ingredients with different flavors that we can use to make tortillas. We are talking about very traditional flavors, natural flavors. Those are vegan. It's vegan products, very healthy. We are talking about flavors like mole, which is a very traditional sauce in Mexico. We are talking about nopal, which is a cactus. We used to have cactus in Mexico. Another like pico de gallo.
Oh.
which is a traditional
Really?
sauce
Wow.
in the Mexican kitchen. Yes,
How
that
did
kind
you
of
get
flavors.
those flavors in there?
Those flavors are natural. We get the flavors in powder form.
Okay.
It's very easy to mix. We can use 15% flour base of these flavors in your dough. It's a powder form. You can make a direct dough. There is no problem. You only add flour, our mix, salt and water, and that's it.
So let me ask you, what will then bakers declare on their formulations, like on the ingredient statements?
Okay, well, we can declare all the ingredients we have in the different products. For example, there is one.
Let's say mole.
Mole.
Say we use
Mole. In the case of mole, we have a lot of ingredients because it's made with different kind of chilies,
Yeah.
chocolates,
Yep.
and some pecans as well. It's a very
Interesting.
rich flavor and rounded flavor.
Okay.
The other ones are like a garlic, tomato,
Oh,
the
I
cactus,
see.
a
So
single
natural,
ingredients. Natural products.
flavors. Okay.
Only natural flavors, not artificial flavors.
Awesome. So if you guys are around here, want to taste some natural flavors in tortilla products, stop by the Lallemand booth at 7115. Right? All right. So everyone, welcome to the Ciranda booth. Ciranda is very different as a ingredient supplier because they care about their farming community, and that's why I'm such a big fan and I stop by all the time. Today we have Erky, and we are going to talk about potato starch and pea protein.
Yeah.
So what's so different about what you guys have in terms of pea protein? Everybody has pea protein. Why is yours different?
Well, let's start with the potato, the organic potato starch, because we've been producing that almost 20 years, and that's produced locally in Finland and in Latvia. We have 2 factories, one in both countries, and the starch potato is contracted from our farmers on long-term contract, 3 to 5 year contracts, fixed price. It's very secure for the farmers. But it's organic, so there has to be a crop rotation. And peas fit perfectly in a crop rotation with potatoes. It's a leguminous crop. It gives nitrogen into the soil. And in Latvia we have this speciality of brown peas. So we're not cultivating yellow peas and not
Really?
green peas. It's brown peas.
Interesting.
And this is a traditional crop in Latvia, still eaten at Christmas. But it has a more favorable taste profile compared to yellow peas.
What do you mean favorable taste profile?
Well, you know, peas have a kind of bitterness. There's
yes,
tannins,
correct.
stuff like
Stringency,
that.
right?
So there's less of that in brown
Oh,
pea.
interesting.
And so we thought, well, this is a point of differentiation to start with the brown peas. We can, give benefit to our farmers, and we can jump into the plant-based protein boom, which obviously is growing all over the world. So what we started then was to start growing with that crop with the farmers, and what we're doing is we are just milling and air classifying.
Okay.
So this is a dry process. There's no heat,
Right.
no acids, no nothing.
Right,
so
right.
it's a raw native protein retaining full functionality.
Okay.
So it's not an isolate. An
Right.
isolate is from a wet process.
Correct.
Functionality is more or less lost because it's denaturated proteins. And this is really important in bakery solutions, because yeast or sourdough needs native raw protein. It needs protein to eat. And if you put protein isolate in a dough, the yeast cannot use it.
That's true.
You're fortifying, obviously, the dough with protein, but for the yeast, it's nothing. It
Okay.
can't use it. So in our case, you can bake with the pea flour, which is the other fraction. I mean, we're producing the protein concentrate, but obviously we are producing another fraction, which is lower in protein, still 17% actually, so higher than wheat, for example. And this we can use in gluten-free baking. You can even use it in normal wheat baking to enhance texture, also enhance the value of the protein, because you know that you can, by combining grain and leguminous crop, you get a better nutritional value of the proteins because the amino acids are a little bit different. So there's actually a lot of benefit in even normal wheat baking, but mainly we're recommending it for gluten-free baking.
Interesting. Okay.
So, so you can, I mean, basically you could even bake 100% pea flour bread. I wouldn't recommend that, but I mean, let's say in a gluten-free bread, up to 30% pea flour.
Okay.
If you want to have a higher protein content, you can also add the concentrate.
Neat. And how does that lead into the potato starch?
Well, potato starch is also really good in gluten-free baking. I mean, obviously, potato starch is gluten-free.
Yep.
And you could use potato starch, I would say, up to 25-30% of the flour.
Right.
Anyway, but what's really special and really interesting for gluten-free baking is the pre-gel potato starch, because your problem normally in gluten-free baking is that your dough doesn't have gluten.
That's true. It doesn't hold up. There's no structure,
yeah, so
right?
it's too sticky, it's too liquid, and therefore you tend to make a dough that is too dry because so that you can still handle it.
Correct.
And then you don't have enough hydration in the dough, and you end up with a dry bread which has a starchy mouthfeel.
Right.
Because there wasn't enough water to
That's
hydrate
true.
the starch.
Yeah.
So, and then you're using maybe hydrocolloids or something to tackle this problem. Pre-gel potato starch is actually a hydrocolloid. So you take the guar gum and the xanthan gum and whatever you're using out, and you put potato starch instead. Pre-gel, it's cheaper, obviously, but the other benefit is that it will create the viscosity in the dough. But when you bake it, the potato starch will overswell, break down, and release the water.
Yeah.
So if you're using other hydrocolloids, you solve the problem of the liquid dough, but you don't solve the problem of the starchy mouthfeel, because hydrocolloids will not release the water in the baking process.
That's true. Okay.
Potato starch will release the water, so it's just binding it in the dough, releasing it in the baking process. Then the other starches, which start swelling at a much higher temperature, have water available in the oven, and you get a nice gluten-free bread which is not starchy and dry.
All right.
So that's really a big benefit of
so Ciranda does offer a pre-gel potato starch for that.
They do.
Okay. Great. And if you guys need any more information, come and talk to Erky at 1073 at the Ciranda booth. All right.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right. Live at the Electro Steam booth, where I get to be schooled on sanitation, because I am not so good at sanitation, and it's a whole different world for me. And basically, I'm going to do something really interesting. Tell me what's on here.
All right, so
Marty.
What we're
this
doing.
Is Marty, by the way. Marty, what
Hi,
do you
folks. Hi, everybody out there. So what we're trying to do here is we're cleaning and potentially sanitizing with dry vapor steam. We're going to introduce some soils, and they could be lots of soils. They could be heavy soils, and they could be soils out of any typical bakery. They don't have to be peanut butter or chocolate only. But we brought these over for demonstration purposes. So we're going to take steam from our generator over here. We're going to shoot it through this steam rail. We're going to deliver steam down on the belt at 220 degrees in flash heat. It will not damage the conveyor. And we're going to suspend that soil. We're going to break the bond between soil and surface, suspend it. It's going to ride over here. We're going to vacuum it away to where this should ATP out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 1 or 2 revolutions.
That kind of scares me, Marty.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does. Let me tell you why, because I don't know what is. Steam is scary because it's hot, right? Can you tell our viewers what you do before we start this?
Well, we just offer dry vapor steam to the baking and food industries to clean where water could typically become an issue, or where you're trying to raise the level of sanitation. And we're checking off those boxes. Is it more efficient? Is it more effective? Are we reducing wastewater to the drain? In this case, we're eliminating it. We'll never produce enough water to go down your drain.
That is really
Yeah, yeah.
excellent because you're telling me I can stop walking into bakeries with wet floors?
Wet floors and slips, trips, and falls are minimized and even eliminated. I'm the recipient of a broken
I don't believe
wrist
that. You got to
from
show me the
slipping on a floor.
technology.
Well, here, let me show you over here. Let's
All
just go over
right.
here.
Okay.
We're going to switch up just a second. And let's just make a little steam. So right here we have 369 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, that's pretty hot.
All right,
Stay
and we're
away
gonna-
from it.
We're going to run this all day long. Can you hold my microphone?
I
for
will
me?
hold your microphone. Ah, don't do that!
So, put your hand up.
It's not hot.
But here's where the action is. Steam produces size, the particle size of the steam is 6/10,000ths of a micron. So just the actual air that we work in, the environment we work in, will cool it down that quickly. But right here is where the action is happening.
Okay.
That remains 220 degrees. So if
Okay,
you
so
touch that.
how far
So-
away from that do you have
Well,
to be?
we're gonna work real close, but here's the magic to it. If you have a water hose and you're putting 8 to 10 gallons of water down on the floor and you're working around electrical components, that becomes a problem. But if
Oh.
I can get this and just go around like this,
Oh,
and I'm just down and I'm all over the place and getting right on top of it,
oh look, there's no moisture in there.
so we're gonna use this all day long, all week long here at the trade show. This carpet will not get wet.
Okay.
So here's the value as far as we talk about going pure green. 100% regular tap water. That's pathogen, bacteria-free water. Why? Because it's superheated. So we
to
know on
what temperature? Superheated.
well, superheated to 365 to 370 degrees inside
Okay.
the chamber.
Okay, that's hot
we're,
enough.
We're gleaning what is considered culinary grade steam. So we're gleaning only from the pressure, from the vapor that's produced in the headspace of that pressure vessel.
That's pretty high.
So
yeah.
this is not a pump that's delivering this pressure. This is actually the pressure like in grandma's pressure cooker that's being delivered. And that's a 24/7 operation we can maintain that temperature if we start on Monday and go till Friday and never turn the machine off. We'll maintain that temperature and that pressure during your cleaning process.
Okay, show me how you can clean a conveyor
Okay.
belt.
So
Can I
over
hold
here.
that for you?
We're
Yeah.
going to turn my steam on over here.
Right.
Well, let's just start with a little peanut butter.
Okay.
It's going in. And we're in Vegas. I hope this conveyor works because we just bought it from Daber Copperfield. So you can see it's magic. It's a Houdini model. It's disappeared. So if you touch this, this is dry. One more revolution, what we'll see is because I put some peanut butter down there, that may ATP out, test out, maybe with not passable, but you run it one more, it'll pass out 0 more than likely.
So changeovers are going to be
Change-
easier
oh my God.
with allergens,
Allergens are
Right.
incredible.
right?
Sometimes it'll struggle with peanuts, but not too often. The other allergens, we've got a white paper on that, by the way.
Okay.
So that was done by one of our, not my colleague, but someone that works for this conveyor company, and he's got his doctorate as well.
Okay.
So I've got that available for somebody that would want to look at it with all the known allergens.
Awesome. Can I have some fun too?
Yes.
You can have all
you
the
can
fun.
put anything you want on
I
here,
want to
Dr.
try
Lin.
that.
So this can be top mounted,
I
or
want to
this
try
can
the
be
edges.
bottom mounted.
I don't believe the edges would work.
Oh, I think it will. So if we needed to go wider, we just make this head a little wider.
Oh, okay. How about that edge?
And then what would happen, we can do this on the bottom so you can run product on the top during your production run. So you can run it. We have some customers that run this during the entire production run. They just mount it on the bottom side of the conveyor.
Wow. And this is absolutely dry, guys. There's no moisture whatsoever. So all your allergens are being cleaned off in one simple step here. Changeovers are going to be so easy.
No water on the floor.
Right.
And guess what? It's automatic. So we're taking the human element away.
Correct.
Did someone miss it?
Right.
Did someone do something incorrectly, or did they put a chemical down?
Right.
And did we get that rinsed off? It's just an amazing, amazing tool that'll change the dynamics of the way you approach certain conveyors when we can match this up with the right application in your facility.
Cool. I'm going to put a big,
Oh, go right ahead.
a big scoop just to make sure
Okay,
and
all right.
to test.
Oh.
It gets caught in there.
So, well, watch. Watch.
Ooh.
It's going to go down. It's going to roll down, and then we just raise it up. Watch it go away,
Oh,
and it's being vacuumed away.
that is neat. Okay.
And look,
Wow, nothing. Awesome. Great, thank you.
so it's a tool that we just love going out and sharing with our potential customers. As this is one that really invites us into plants and gives us the opportunity to share our other equipment.
All right, thank you, Marty.
All right, food safety first.
All right, come to the booth to understand food safety and allergen changeovers, Electro steam. We are here at the Ingredient booth, and I have Chris with me. Chris,
Yes.
what are you doing with Ingredient?
So I work with our technical service team. So I'm
Let's look at the camera there.
the technical point person for starches and flours and nutritional ingredients for some of our customers. So I work closely with sales.
So you know everything about starch.
I know a lot about starch.
Okay,
For sure.
so I'll quiz you today on starch, and
Okay.
you will know. Okay, let's start with the first one. What do you have here?
Well, I'm thinking we should start with our pizza,
Ooh, pizza.
demo. So we've developed a gluten-free pizza crust that's thin, and we've incorporated our co-texturizer to give it some crispiness. It's just a way to show that you can dial into a different texture by adding a different starch.
So it's crispy.
Yes.
Okay.
So should have a little bit of crispiness on the bottom, but also on the outer ring, you'll really pick it up.
Yes, it does.
This also
Not
has
slimy, so it's good.
Yeah. And this is gluten-free. So this has our gluten-free flour in it, our Precisa Baked GF. And it also has our Homecraft Pulse 4101 chickpea flour, which builds back some of the protein and nutrition that you miss when you take the wheat flour out.
So tell me a little bit. What does the chickpea flour do? What kind of nutrition?
So it does give you some protein. The chickpea flour is about 25% protein, and
Wow.
but it also has some functional benefits as well. Like it gives it a little bit of chew. We see that it also gives it a little bit of aeration,
That's true.
lift
Yeah,
in
I
the.
saw that in some of my baking experiments too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really great product, and it's also one of the cleaner tasting.
It is. Yeah, you
Pulse
can
products.
hardly taste the chickpeas in there.
Right.
That's like the next hot, like non-grain powder. You know, amazing. All right, what's
So
next?
I guess if we move on, we've got another gluten-free prototype here. This is a gluten-free ginger lime muffin that's been nutritionally enhanced.
Wow, ginger lime.
Yeah, so it's got a really great flavor profile, but it's also delivering some decent nutrition. So in this, we're using clean label ingredients. This has our Homecraft Create GF10 flour, which is rice flour and tapioca. And we've also got, from a nutrition standpoint, our Vitessence Pulse 1803 pea protein, which is 80% protein content product. And Jaime's, which has been around a long time, but it works so great in bakery products. So it's
Very
giving
good.
you a fiber boost, but it's super clean flavor and
Right.
yeah, it's just real.
Look,
easy
it
to-
holds up real well. There's a very nice mount to it that's really hard to do with, gluten-free muffin baking.
What do you
Right?
think? Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
I've tried that before. It's hard.
Yeah.
Good job, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And
So
what-
people can come here and talk to you about how to do this.
Be happy to talk to them.
Awesome. All right.
All right.
Next.
So our next one is our cheddar scallion scone. So we figured we should have some savory offerings at the show this year. So this is a scone that's also featuring some of our Pulse products. In this case, it's our Vitessence Pulse 2550 lentil
I want you
protein
guys to
concentrate.
see this. Do you see how cohesive the product is? It's got really good tear to it. The crumb, it's a really good crumb. holds it in. It pops up, keeps the volume. Nice.
Yeah.
You're like a genius.
Oh, you're. I don't know about that, but I do love to bake. So this also has.
It's really good.
This actually has an excellent source of protein, and a 60 gram serving, because we wanted to show how you could really attain great nutrition without sacrificing flavor.
Where's
or
the
texture.
protein coming from?
The protein's coming from the Vitessence Pulse.
Okay, Pulse.
Actually, yeah, Vitessence Pulse 2550. So that's a lentil protein concentrate.
Okay.
And
there's no taste to it, so that's good.
yeah, well, lentil lends itself very well to savory applications too. It almost complements the flavors of the onion and the cheese. We've also got a clean label instant starch in there called Novation Prima 340. Very good stability. So these were frozen and thawed prior.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good for frozen product.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what's next?
Okay, so we'll finish off with our cookie demo. I think it's better to end on a sweet note there.
Ah,
So this is
you
a
got
double
me.
chocolate cookie, but it's vegan, and it's got protein in there as well, and reduced sugar.
Sorry, I'm just poking around at it to peel it to see if it's true or not. I mean, vegan is no eggs, as we know. No eggs, no butter. So
Right.
without the eggs, there's going to be crumbly issues. But I don't see it in here. So can you tell us, what did you do to make it not crumbly?
Sure. So, well, a couple things. We've got our reduced sugar solution that we just launched, or is in the process of launching, called Australia allulose, and we use that to greatly reduce the sugar content.
By how much?
I believe it was 20 to 25%,
That's nice.
and so that has a really great impact on your.
I didn't even
nutrition.
know that, because usually, well, I try to bake sugar-free too at home, and I'm just
Right.
that's always like a third dimension that's missing. I don't feel like the third dimension is missing here. You have the depth of the sugar, and that's just by allulose.
Well, yeah, the allulose has a lot of similar properties to full sugar.
Okay.
It provides really great humectancy. It gives good browning. Things that were challenging for reduced sugar solutions in the past.
That's amazing.
And we've also got the Vitessence Pulse 1803 pea protein concentrate in there as well.
Okay.
And actually, there's like five of our ingredients in there, kind of like the kitchen sink, so to
Okay.
speak. So we've got
All right.
xanthan in there as well to help with
I don't feel
dough,
the xanthan.
the dough consistency.
Yeah, I don't feel the xanthan.
Right.
Okay.
And-
So, don't mean to cut you off, but
Sure.
that machine is just hard to
Oh,
hear. If any gluten-free baker has any questions, they can come here and talk to you about it during the show, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, because we have a lot of people who are viewing this, so.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
I'm very passionate about gluten-free and baking
Okay.
in general, so happy to talk to
Look
folks.
for Chris at the ingredient booth if you need any gluten-free questions answered. Okay?
All right.
Bye. We're here at the Wacker booth, and we are going to be talking about an amazing new technology called alpha dextrins. Now, if you guys have not heard me talk enough about alpha dextrins, you have to come to this booth and hear Dr. Helmut talk about alpha dextrins, because it's an amazing new technology. Welcome, Helmut.
Welcome, Lin.
Right. So, just for the typical baker who has not heard of this technology before, can you explain using this on what alpha dextrins are?
Yes. Alpha dextrins are little ring-shaped sugar molecules and are actually made out of starch by an enzymatic process. They look like a little donut. And what you can do with that, if you mix them with water and fat, they actually act as an emulsifier. And a very amazing emulsifier who makes oil and water emulsions. If I can show you this, for example, these are different commercial and icings, and also an icing made with our alpha dextrin. The trade name is Max. This is why it's over there.
So, what you're saying is the alpha dextrin retains the fat and it doesn't seep out like the
Yes.
regular.
With-
So what I'm thinking will this be great for frozen technology?
Yes, it would work for that.
Okay.
Because alpha dextrin together with fat and water makes an oil in water emulsion.
Right.
If you just add then sugar and some flavors to it, you come to these icings. Because you are using now liquid oils, these icings are heat stable.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can put it on a hot cake, or you can, and it will not melt.
Right.
You can also freeze it and
Yeah.
take it out of the freezer, and it would just
Right.
have already the right texture to work with it.
That's really interesting because I have a lot of bakers come and ask me, how do they prevent the water syneroses from the frozen topping? So it looks to me like this technology can prevent that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You work with you basically prepare your icing with the right texture and viscosity you want it to have, and this icing you can put into the freezer or into the fridge, directly take out of it. You do not need to let it come to room temperature. It's already at the right texture. You can put it onto your baking products, and you can also put it on baking products which are still hot.
Amazing, yeah.
And because it's not melting.
Right.
It started already with liquid oils.
So how do you transfer that technology to gluten-free? Because you mentioned that it's a good gluten-free
Yes.
application. How
Yes,
does that transfer
these-
to gluten-free?
It started basically with using alpha dextrin as an emulsifier. But you can also use the same product as a whipping agent. And if you combine these two functions, you can use it as an egg replacement in bakery products. We have successfully done layer cakes, pound cakes, sponge cake, brioche products by replacing partly or 100% eggs in these products with alpha dextrin. Now, from these egg-free products to a gluten-free product, it's only a small step.
Really?
And we are basically replacing eggs and egg whites by using alpha dextrin and a protein. And if you work with in vegan products, you just take
I was
soy
just gonna
protein
say,
or
that vegan
or
trend,
yes,
yeah.
or pea protein, and then you are exactly in the area to make, for example, now gluten-free breads. And on this show,
Amazing.
actually,
Yeah.
on this show, they are using already in demonstrations alpha dextrin to make these new type of vegan products.
Really? So the attendees can go and taste some gluten-free products with alpha dextrins in it?
Yes.
Okay.
They can do that.
Very cool. Great. So if you guys have any more questions during IBIE, come and talk to my friend here at booth 1171, and he will answer all your questions on alpha dextrins. All right?
For
Thank
sure.
you, bakers.
Thank you. Bye.
What is a smart bakery?
So a smart bakery is, in today's world, touchscreen, is connected, it's easy, it's intuitive, and it has everything you need in one spot. As everything bakery, everything starts on the prep table. We have a product called Bake Suite, and it's the suite that connects everything together in the bakery, and it manages workflow, and it stores your recipes, controls your inventory, projects your sales for you. Everything here in this little brain.
Okay.
It all starts with picking up a certain recipe.
Uh-huh.
Once you choose your recipe, it will tell you the ingredients needed to prepare the recipe. It will also show you the nutritional information.
Okay.
So practically, you can either print this on individual labels and put them on the product.
So the employee doesn't need to be trained much. All they need to
No, it
know
really
is what buttons to push.
Right.
Okay.
Today's
Got it.
generation are very, very commonly using touch screens, phones,
Right.
laptops, iPads, and everything. And everything is becoming intuitive. So you don't need to know language. All you need to know is just look at the icon and figure out what the icon does. And that's how simple this is.
So my concern is this looks really small batch. like for 30 cookies.
Right.
Can it scale up?
Of course you can. Well, as
Okay.
soon as you start any particular recipe, you can look here and you can scale anywhere from 30 to 1000, and as soon as you add number of cookies, you can look closely and you can see that it is changing the ingredients for you.
Right. Okay.
And it's
Interesting.
adding more volume or masses to every single component to provide you with the consistent recipe, day on, day off, or even location 1 to location B. Remember that today we have so much bakers leaving the workforce with 60, 50 years of experience. All this experience is leaving with them in their minds. They're retiring. We have very few people who have been doing it for 10, 20 years. So we have a gap, either 60 and retiring or 5 years and going into
That's
the
true.
industry
Yeah.
with very little experience. This
Yeah.
will store the experience for you.
Okay.
It also helps solve a problem which we have today, which is finding labor,
Yep.
whether skilled or unskilled. With this product here, it's very intuitive. Anybody, any new recruit that has been with you for 1 day only can operate this and practically recreate the recipe that you have been doing for 20 years.
Yeah, amazing. So from here, let's say we go to baking, right?
So this prep system or bake suite connects every single machinery in the bakery in the workflow that the recipe calls for it.
Okay.
So if your recipe calls for prep, you are prepping and then you're adding ingredients as you go. You're adding either butter or sugar or anything. It shows you exactly what to pour and how much to pour and when to
Alright.
stop. And
Okay.
then when it's time for you to go to the next level, which is the mixer, it will automatically send the settings of that recipe to the mixer itself. You don't have to do any adjustments. All you have to do is here, press start. It even controls it for you. So if you're gone doing something else, by the time you come back, if it's time to stop, it stops it for you.
Okay, interesting.
And then when it's time to bake, it will send the bake settings of that particular recipe to any oven connected to it. So practically eliminating the need for guessing and forgetting to preheat the oven.
Yeah. Which no one ever does. Just kidding. Everybody forgets to preheat the oven.
And it's any size oven, it's any size operation, whether the scale calls for 30 pounds or 300 pounds.
Okay.
It's the load cell that talks to the brain. This brain can be connected to this setup, or it could be on the wall in your bakery where you're doing larger prep.
Okay.
Or even industrial. Sometimes people ask us, can this be scaled? Yes, I can press a button here and have the flour delivered to your mega mixer by silo, by
Okay.
pumps, no problem.
Interesting. Wow. And, mixer and then the oven. And do we need any kind of special
So the ovens that Doyon offers
Condition
in the
for the
product
oven?
offering are practically ventless. They're
Okay.
touchscreen, they're intuitive,
Interesting.
they're easy to use, and they're ventless. So you can
Interesting.
have this setup in a mall with no hood. You can have a total package of front of house display to work counters, to under counter refrigeration or storage, oven, mixer, scale under 15 grand. maybe.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So someone can actually come and start a bakery business for under 15 grand.
Yes, whether in the mall or in a
Amazing.
store or in a basement, because everything is ventless.
Wow. Would that also include some kind of a proofer or no?
Yes, well, as you see, we have variety of ovens. We
Yep.
have ovens for small operation, half-size pans, 5 sheets. We have ovens for larger operations,
Okay.
full-size pans, 6 sheets. We have technologies in our products that are unique to our product offering. We have patented systems that can allow you to do proof and bake in the same cavity.
Wow. Okay.
So you place your dough or fresh product inside the cavity. You press one button, you go, and you come back when it's done.
Yeah.
It will start proofing for you. When it's done proofing, it will evacuate the moisture, bring in fresh air, and start baking as if you just displaced the product. So
Wow.
instead of moving the product and involving labor, we move the settings for you in and out of the cavity using systems and technology.
Cool. Now I also saw one more oven on the other side. Really
Yes,
exciting technology.
yes.
Can you show that to
Let's
us?
show it. Yes, thank you.
David, tell us a little bit more about this oven.
This oven is rated by Fisher Nickel as the best in class for baking. And when we sent this oven sample to Fisher Nickel. We were hoping, because you cannot control the outcome of the test.
That's true.
However, the rest came back as the best in class in energy efficiency, the best in class in evenness of bake, the best in class in steam production. So this monster will produce a humongous amount of steam in a very limited amount of time. It has also the largest touchscreen on the market. The touchscreen is very intuitive as well. As you can notice, we have similar software, similar icons, similar steps between all our equipment. So if somebody is used to one piece of machinery, they can operate the other product line.
Now, one of the biggest issues with this kind of ovens is the evenness of
Right,
bake. So
right.
how does Doyon, make that
Solve this
happen?
problem. Thank you for that question.
Right.
So we
I want to
have
see your secret.
all secrets are explained. So practically what we have is something we call VR. VR is a system of vents, the software that controls the fan reverse, the fan delay, all of them
Yeah.
work together in a certain system or chronology
Right.
to provide you with the even bake.
Okay.
Also, the oven has adjustable vents. As you can see, all the vents are adjustable in increments of feet. You can practically set your temperature flow or airflow to the product as much as you want, or
So I can actually manipulate these vents here.
every single one of them
Wow.
is adjustable.
Okay. Wow. All right.
You test the bake, you find out that in the middle it's better than the top, you adjust the top, and here you
That's
go.
always an issue.
Right.
The
we
top
solved
the
that.
top is always cooking faster than the
Faster
middle
than
and the bottom. So
And in order to prevent that, we have everything adjustable in increments of a few feet.
nice. Well, thanks. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me here, David.
Thank you
And
for coming.
if anybody wants to come see the amazing bakery that you can put together with the $15,000 and this really energy efficient oven, come to Doyon at 5247.
Thank you.
Right. Welcome to the Bartek booth. We are here because I've talked to Jeff and he's got a pretty interesting angle to acids being used in bakery products. So a lot of us don't know what Bartek does. So Jeff, could you tell us what Bartek does?
Sure. So Bartek is the global leader in malic and food-grade fumaric acid. We have sales to 40-plus countries and many different applications, beverages, confectionery, and bakery. So we're here at this show for the first time because we think that the bakery market represents an interesting growth opportunity for us based on what we've learned in some other market segments.
Great. And let me check something. So, again, some people may know you as a leader in fumaric and malic acids.
Yeah.
Right. So, what prompted you to focus on bread, particularly artisan bread?
It's a great question. So we sell a lot of fumaric acid in tortillas, which is a well-known application. And what we've learned is that it's a very functional acid in that application. What we've also learned in other market segments is that people don't necessarily think of using malic and fumaric acid. They think of using other acids like citric. So one of the things that we focused on this year is to make sure that the market understands that there are other tools in the acidulant toolkit other than something like citric acid. So based on what we know to be the functionality of Fumaric in tortillas, we started to look at how it might work in other parts of the bakery market, and artisan bread is certainly an area that's growing, and that's what brought us to Jane and Jane's group to help us do some screening work, and everything just sort of took off from there.
So, I shouldn't be asking you the technical questions, right? So I'm just going to turn around to
You
Jane.
could ask me the technical questions, but you're going to
Or
get much better
Alejandro.
answers from Alejandro and from
Okay.
Jane, yes.
So I'm just going to ask some technical questions. What is the fundamental effect of acids or fumaric acid in bread?
So there are few different things that fumaric acid will do as part of a system. The first thing that we saw when we were working on this project with this fumaric acid system was we saw a significant reduction in mix time, especially in higher water absorption breads. So think of something like a ciabatta. It's a two-stage mixing process where you mix part of the water in and then you try to incorporate the last part of the water a little bit later. We were able to mix for a shorter amount of time with the fumaric acid system and get better incorporation of the water after the second addition point. So that was the first thing that we really noticed with the fumaric acid system.
Yeah.
So Alejandro, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, ciabatta, we're talking about high hydration. Usually, high hydration would result in a longer mix time. Why are you seeing a shorter mix time?
Well, that's something we're investigating as far as the structural function and the effects of that.
Okay.
But we definitely saw this marked decrease in the mix time necessary, and we were very excited about it. And also help with the handling ability. You think of stickiness of a high absorption dough like this, that is a concern. And we were able to control that much better by using this fumaric acid-based system. Now, in the finished product attributes arena, what we saw was an increase in porosity.
Pictures. Right.
So we saw an increase. This is the control, which is just the normal ciabatta formula without the fumaric-based system. But when we used it, we saw obviously an increased porosity and volume as well, and a shape that was longer and with less height, as well as a more desirable, regular, angular shape to the ciabatta bread, as opposed to more round. And note also the amount of dusting flour that has to be used on the control as opposed to the system. Right?
Yeah.
Talking about the ease of handling and the stickiness control.
Right. So, Dr. Jane, what's causing the increase in the size of the bubbles?
We're not quite sure mechanistically what's going on to create that porosity. That's something that we're still investigating just so that we understand what the system is doing. But the effect is very obvious.
Yeah.
I mean,
we believe it has to do with retention of that gas that's being produced by the yeast, as opposed to are you producing more gas, right?
Okay.
So it has to do with the retention, the capability to form those films that will give the bubble that stability.
We still have more work to do, right? We decided to come to this show knowing that this was more early stage than late stage, and we decided to come really for one reason, which is to get customer input about the kinds of things they would like to see us do as a next phase of development work, so that we could put our money and our time to best use in terms of utilizing Alejandro and Jane's services and figuring out what comes next.
So, how I feel about this is in a lot of commercial baking scenarios, we have really tight crumb, especially when you produce a ciabatta product on a higher speed line. This is what you usually see, tight crumb.
Like the control here.
Yeah, and people usually increase water just to open up the crumb. So what you're telling me is the system that you're supplying is going to do that naturally without increasing water.
That is correct, yeah.
And with better handling properties too, which
Like
is critical.
less sticky.
Less stickiness. It's not quite as slack, which also helps when you're starting to talk about shaping.
As well as cutting mix time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is cost, productivity, and efficiency.
Wow.
As well.
So to get a better product with more efficiency, those are things that bakers obviously want to see.
And in these couple of days, we've seen a tremendous amount of interest in this.
Yes, absolutely.
Just to echo what you're saying.
Yes, this is where the issue is.
We've seen that as well.
Yeah, this is a pain point in a lot of commercial bakeries. And my last concern is what is the percentage used? You're not going to tell me like 5 to 10%, right?
It is 1%.
Nice.
1% used based on
nice.
the flour.
Okay.
We were conscious of practical aspects and designed the system like that.
Like, when I was working on projects like that, we had to go up at least 5 points in hydration to get this effect.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Right. It's a lot.
Then you have to bake it out, sticky.
Yes. Yes. So you're telling me I don't need to do that anymore.
Not anymore.
Awesome.
You have to talk to us.
Awesome. So bakers, if you're looking for a solution to open up your crumb structure, come to Bartek and talk to Alejandro and Jeff. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome,
Lin.
thank you.
Welcome everyone to the Stably booth. Amazing robotic technology. You guys got to see this. It's here at 7623, and I'll give Sebastian the chance to talk about what the robots do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Stably is a Swiss company. Maybe I should start with that.
Yeah.
Stably is a
company.
Swiss company. We're based out of Zurich area, and in North America we are in Duncan, South Carolina.
Okay.
We have offices in Michigan as well as Querétaro and Windsor, and we do robotics. In the robotics, we address many different markets, food and then bakery. More particularly, we've been in food industry about 10 years now, especially learning to do more hygienic design and getting our structure completely enclosed robots to be more hygienic and to be compatible with the food and being able to be in contact with the food and being able to be washed down. So we bring in this technology to the bakery industry to see how we can address issues that bakers have.
Yeah, one of the biggest help that the baking industry needs is really scoring and decorating. Can you
Yes.
show us what machine
Yes.
you have for that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we demonstrate here a TX290 that is actually handling a plate with different cupcakes and donuts, and you can see here that we're decorating by using a chocolate and doing a different motion to
that's
do the
amazing.
decorating. Yeah.
Right. So how fast is this though? This looks pretty manual and slow to me.
Yes, of course. But here it's a demonstration, so we're doing
okay.
more for the principle
Right.
and showing and people to understand. You'll see here is using the same
Look,
tooling
it's
to
scoring.
do scoring.
Look, that's amazing. It's scoring. Wow. And then
Yeah.
it's doing something else.
And now it's picking up a cake and it's going to do a simulation of decorating the cake again.
Wow.
So here what we're trying to demonstrate is the capability of the robot to be able to do all those different things, but also to be in a wet environment where you need to wash down at the end of the day and make sure that it's compatible with the hygienic standards of the
Right.
bakery industry.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's go on to this machine here. It fascinates me because of its speed. And what is this machine?
So here we're simulating and we're showing macarons being sorted. So they're coming from a conveyor belt in different orientation, different colors. They're not really sorted in a way that you can put it in a package.
Right.
So the robot's going to pick them up and it's going to line up with colors, or it's going to make a random colors. So it's going to prepare, and so then you can pick it all up and put it in a box and then be ready to ship.
It's scary because it's faster than a human.
Yes. sorting is in an area of the bakery where there is a lot of need,
That's true.
a lot
That's
of volume,
true.
so you need to have a lot of throughput, and this is what we're demonstrating here. So again, same thing, completely enclosed design. You see the machine is not standing on top of the conveyor belt.
That's true.
So it's not on top of the product.
Right.
So from an hygienic design, it respects the standards and it's capable of doing. And you can see that now the pattern is all sorted with colors.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks. And what do we have here?
And then, of course, once you bring all the macarons together into a box, here you see all the small macarons that are all individual box, and then you put it all into one bigger box to be able to ship it.
Yeah.
So it's more on the packing side. So here the speed is not as impressive because the product has already brought together, so the throughputs are usually down the line a little less demanding.
All right.
So we can again see and appreciate the design of the machine, fully enclosed, IP65, capable of being washed down, and hygienic design, same thing.
Very neat. So Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions on robotics and how it could help your facility in scaling up, come over to booth 7623 at the Staubli booth. All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.